So this unit we're going to talk about the subjunctive with impersonal expressions, but before we get into the subjunctive with impersonal expressions, we're going to do a quick review of the subjunctive in noun clauses that we've already covered. So remember that we have a formula that we use to remember when to use the subjunctive. So we have two subjects. The first subject and the second subject comes after K. And then the first verb that we see in the sentence is a verb of hope or recommendation. That verb is our indicator verb that we conjugate in the indicative. Then after that verb, we have to have a K. And all of those three things, two subjects, indicator verb, and K, will lead us to conjugate the verb in the subjunctive at the end. Okay, so the second verb will be in the subjunctive. The first verb, the indicator verb, is in the indicative. So I have a couple of example sentences for you. Todos sugieren que nos quedemos en casa. So sugerir is one of our verbs of recommendation. Everybody suggests that we stay at home. Then we also have quiero que los estudiantes duerman más. I want the students to sleep more. And then es bueno que ustedes sigan aprendiendo. Es bueno is an impersonal expression. So I kind of put that last example there so that you guys can see an example with the impersonal expressions. So what is an impersonal expression? An impersonal expression is going to start with es and then have an adjective after. So es bueno is an impersonal expression. It is good. We don't have a specific subject. We're just saying it is good. So this formula is going to look similar to the formula that we have for the noun clauses with the verbs of hope and recommendation. So we'll start off with S, and it will always be S. You can also do the past tense, but remember that we're only working in the present tense for now. So S with an adjective, and it can be really any adjective that you want. We'll talk about some exceptions later on in the year. But we'll have S with an adjective, and the adjective is in masculine singular form. Then K, then we have to have a subject, and after that subject, the verb will be in the subjunctive. So we can use the subjunctive with expressions of possibility, doubt, uncertainty, necessity, and emotion. Emotion would be how you feel about something. If you're relaying, it's good, like in our example sentence. And then remember, if there's no specific subject after the K, you don't need to use the subjunctive. Okay, if we're only making a general statement like es bueno seguir aprendiendo, it is good to continue learning, that is completely impersonal. There's no subjects at all, so we don't need to conjugate the second verb in the subjunctive. We just don't use a K and keep it with the infinitive. So here we have some impersonal expressions to know. It's definitely not a comprehensive list of every single impersonal expression, but these are examples of impersonal expressions that we're going to see in class. So es importante que, es bueno malo, those ones you should know. Es mejor que is it's best that. Es necesario que, I'm sure you know. And then es preciso and es imprescindible mean the same thing as es necesario. It's all a way to say it's necessary that. And then es esencial o es fundamental, those are cognates. So it is essential or fundamental that something happens. Then on the other side, we have es posible or imposible, es probable o improbable, so possible, impossible, probable, improbable. Es recomendable, it's recommended. Es una lástima or es una pena, it's a shame. Es triste que, it's sad. Es genial or es fenomenal que. So those last two are going to be your emotions, how you feel about things. Okay, so now we have a couple more example sentences in the subjunctive. Es imposible que nosotros vayamos a Disney. Right, it's impossible to go to Disney World. Es importante que ustedes sean saludables. Es genial, so it's amazing, it's great, que tú reduzcas el uso de agua en casa. Y es una lástima que no ahorremos los recursos naturales. So those are some examples. We have our S with an adjective, K with our noun, our second subject, or first subject really, and then our verb in the subjunctive. The only difference is here una lástima. Es una lástima is a noun. So una lástima es una pena. Those are two nouns that we're using here. And then here we have some examples with the infinitive. Es necesario conservar nuestro medio ambiente. It's important to conserve our environment. So we're not telling a specific person that it's necessary. We're just making a general statement. And when we're making a general statement without a subject, we don't have a K and we don't have the subjunctive. The next one, es imprescindible reciclar las latas, el vidrio y el cartón. Es malo malgastar las materias primas. Y es prohibido masticar chicle en la clase de Señora Garcia. So there you go. You have the uses and the rules for using the subjunctive with impersonal expressions, and also some examples of when you don't use impersonal expressions. If you have any questions, come on over to the Google Meet and ask.